Hey, man. For me, that whole experience when we started working together, it was like a very good foundation for me.
I think learning from each other was actually fun because the fact that we were both learning, none of us were better than the other.
From that time, we really boosted our portfolio such that it was easy to get other jobs.
It was easy to get
other jobs because we did so much.
The fact that everything we did there, everything we are right now is all because we're not looking at perfection, but progress.
How do you continue to challenge yourself creatively?
Mostly just has been self-motivation and Pinterest. Pinterest, you'll find everything. It's either Pinterest will make you mad or motivate. So with every project that I create, I try to be completely different from my last one and better as well. Yeah.
So now looking at this, I know many people might think this is just like, I don't know, one layer or a picture, then you just added the colors. I think the best part about this is how you manage to blend everything together. What does someone need to practice in order for them to be good at blending everything together like this?
You need to learn a lot about color grading because not every color is going to go with what you are looking for. You need to learn adjustment layers. So you should work with vibrancy, saturation, color balance. These three, we really need these three. And for shadows and brightness, you need to experiment with the brightness, contrast, levels, curves, especially curves. I've watched almost every YouTube tutorial out there, especially photo manipulation. I think YouTube is just basically the best platform you could learn from for anything, literally, anything creatively. You shouldn't be scared of criticism. Ask people, especially people who don't know anything about what you do, because they'll be looking at it from the user side, customer side, and everything. So ask, like, yo, what do you think about this? Whether it's negative or positive, you should just learn to take it and ask questions. That's how you progress in life.
Quick one, before we go any further, please remember to like and to subscribe and to share. And I promise to bring you the best and most valuable content. Hey, man.
Last.
Alright, that's it. Yeah.
Tom. If you want.
Tom Murphy. How are you?
Best. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. How long? 3 years. 23, 24, 24. 3 years, actually.
3 years.
But
yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is going to be awkward because right. You know, it's awkward to speak English with someone that you are used to speaking local language. Yeah, so yala wako awkward. But anyway,
yeah,
twelve mix.
My subtitles. Yeah.
Oi, how have you been?
Been alright, my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Been surviving. Living life,
learning,
you know,
and creating,
and stacking, and repeating,
and layering. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm just gonna go back to where we first met. So I remember back when I went for interview for my first official job. Yeah, I was really, I don't know, I wasn't scared, but yeah, I wanted to get that job. I needed to get that job because I needed a job. And I remember going to Californian Beverages, and that was my first job. Then I went in for the interviews. Of course, I did the test and I passed. And I remember attending the last round of interviews. Then I found you. And then we were the two of us.
It was just like...
Yeah. Yeah. So it was just like, this is the person that you'll be working with. And yeah, ever since it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been wild. It's fun.
How did your interviews go? How did you find out about the job?
I was already working somewhere else then. It wasn't even design related because in fact I even gave up. Like I started gave up saying I don't think I'll ever get the job for design and everything because that was in 2020 and literally the entire year I was going to agencies, just applying online, doing what, and I got rejected every time. I think like every single time.
Yeah.
Because I was just a recent graduate. My salary expectation, every time they asked me how much do you want, I was like, yeah, I want a 10 pin.
10 pin.
Yeah, I want a 10 pin.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have a 10 pin, I'm dipping. So I don't know. It was, it's because what I would say was I didn't even know anything about designs. The only thing that was in my mind was I'm a graduate, I'm done with school, I have my papers, I want a 10p.
Yeah.
So it was it was kind of depressing because every time everyone was like, "Sat, we can't give you a 10p.
Yeah.
We can give you a 1.5." I'm like, I'm not working for a 1.5 otherwise. But
Just saying that you didn't know anything about design, but you started design. Why did you say
yes, so the thing was, when during that 2020 so I was like, I didn't even know anything about Pinterest, I knew nothing about Behance, like I didn't even know that you can even get inspiration online over design. So I was just creating everything from my mind, saying, okay, let me try to do this, I even touched, like I used to touch everything, like I touched UI, I touched web design, web development, I did motion graphics, I did graphic design, everything. Like literally, not even, I think I didn't do photo manipulation then because I didn't even know it existed. So during that time, when I was at my job, I won't even say which one. So my former lecturer called me saying, Thembi, Californian Beverage is looking for a designer. Like, are you working right now? I'm like, yeah, I'm working. Okay, should I give them your number? I'm like, give them my number. Why are you even asking? Like, give them my number. He's like, okay, cool. I'll give it to them. Then I received a call, I think the next day. It was a missed call actually because I was working and they didn't allow phones in the facility. So received a call from Mr. Rajesh.
Yeah, Mr. Rajesh.
Mr. Rajesh,
Shout
we miss
out.
you.
We miss you.
Yeah, he's like, am I talking to Thembi? Can you come through for interviews? I was like, yeah, I can definitely come through. And then that was during the job. I even told my supervisor, me, I'm going for a job interview. Like, I'm dipping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I left, went to California. That's where I met him as well. I was supposed to come with a former classmate of mine, but he was like, Sat. I think we went together for the first time. Then he heard the salary was a bit too book. It's like, no. He dipped. He already knew his worth. But for me, then I just accepted saying, okay, whatever is there, we will work with it. It's fine. Let's make our CV first because we didn't have anything to show for. Portfolio, it was just my stolen artworks from people. Like, did you do this? Did you do this? No, I didn't do this one, but I just added a few things behind. So yeah, it's part of my artwork. So
that's bad.
Yeah, it was what? It was a pretty rough year for me. Like I even fell into depression because all my friends had jobs. You know, like they had jobs. They literally left. I was alone in the house. Everyone was working, getting money. I had nowhere to get money. And then because my relationship with my dad then was a bit wild. Like we never even used to speak. The entire year never used to speak. So it was just me. So I was like just trying to, make it day by day and everything. And my laptop got stolen in April. They stole my laptop and I was like, that's it. I don't think I'm ever going to be a designer or anything. So we just went to school for nothing. And so that's how it was. That's how that made me actually just get another job, like completely different from design, because there's nothing else I could do. So after California, we spoke, started working there, and that's where the fun began.
Where the fun began. But anyway, before we get into that, what was it like growing up? Like, what were you interested in as a kid?
So I've always been a very curious kid or person, I used to be very curious when I was a kid, because my mom, rest in peace to my mom, she used to support everything that I did because I was a mommy's boy. So every time I did something, even if it's rubbish, she was like, "You are wow, wow."
You're a good boy. Yeah.
So I used to be very curious. I used to draw. I started drawing I didn't know that it was kind of a talent or it's a gift. So I was just doing it out of fun, saying, okay, yeah, I like doing this. And when I was in my grade 1, grade 2, moja, the teacher would be like, oh, who's going to draw something for us on the board? The whole class would be like, Thembi, draw for us. I'm like, I didn't understand why they used to do that. Like, I don't know how to draw. Like, I just do this thing. And you're saying I draw for you. It was annoying at the same time. So I used to draw, I used to craft everything, because my mom used to be talented, very multi-talented. She could sing, she could sew, she could cook, she could draw, she could paint, she could do everything. So that's why she used to like support me in everything. So I used to draw a lot. I used to read a lot of books. I would spend like almost a whole day in the library, like, just studying books, science, mostly like science. So I know a lot about science, like astronomy and everything. So that's how it used to be. I used to experiment a lot. Because I used to spend a lot of time by myself. I had friends. I had time for friends, but I used to spend a lot of time by myself. So I would draw, I would do everything. So when I went to high school, there was a subject, art. Yeah, after we knew that Kushi Secondary had art as a subject, so I had to go there and pursue that. So that's why I like crafted my art. Yeah, and I actually won Best Visual Artist of the Year during the NASA's. Remember NASA's? NASA's competition. Yeah, that's Central Province 2015. Yeah, Central Province, I was the first. Even district was number 1. The entire district, the entire province knew about me, like, mad art.
That name.
The slogan, mad art. I don't know why I don't even use it anymore. I think we grew. So after high school, my father told me, saying, dude, if you want to pursue art, the only courses that are there is that teaching. You start teaching art, or just start doing art as a freelancer, just be drawing people and getting money. I was like, don't do that. Because the college that was offering art teaching for art was at home, and I never wanted to be that side. That's why I refused. So there's a mentor of mine from high school, Mr. Nasando. I think I remember. I think that's his name. He was like, there's a college, in Lusaka, Evelyn Horn. It has a course. It's a very new course. It's called Creative Digital Media, and that's like something that you would love to do. You are definitely going to love it, because it's similar to what you're doing, but digital. Yeah, so that's what I did. I'm like, okay, we'll just do the same one. And my father was like, let's go. You can apply. I applied, started, and I went to college, and
so before that, so your dad, like, you never had any resistance from your dad to say, no, you can't study this?
No, the resistance came from relatives. If you really want to do something and people are like, Sat, there's no money in there, but if that's what you want, really what you want, that's what your heart wants, you should definitely pursue that. They were like, no, there's no money in that. You're just going to end up at home. Just pursue what? Environmental health, medicine. I'm like, no, I don't know anything. I'm going to kill someone's child. So that's my father was just supportive of it. I feel like if I even told him I want to be a taxi driver, he would just be like, it's your life. You can do that. We'll pay for it. Just do what you want. So that's how it was. And I found myself by Evelyn Horn.
How was the experience learning?
To be honest, because it was a new course, and we didn't have any teachers or any graphic designers or people to teach us whatever we were supposed to learn. They got lectures from like my IT, Shanshani. I think there was only one person, two people. Mr. I've forgotten his name. He used to teach us 3D and 2D animation, and Madame Seteka. Yeah, I miss her. She used to teach us web development. So I loved web development because of the codings and stuff. So those were the only people that were actually teaching us what we were supposed to learn. The rest was just generic. So they never used to teach us about like the industry, what we're going to find in the industry, what kind of thing is, whatever was in the books or whatever it was in whatever, that's what they would learn. And it was kind of boring for me because it was hard to understand. So I don't think I learned any, because anything that I learned in school, maybe except for web development, because I had to choose to not pursue that because it became complicated as we went. So to be honest, anything that I learned within design principles, I didn't find any of that in the industry. So yeah. But yeah, so that's how it was. But it was fun. It was actually fun.
It was fun, but the learning wasn't as
it was fun, but the learning wasn't
as exciting.
Because
did you learn like Photoshop?
Yes, so I learned Photoshop from my friend. We actually met. He was studying environmental health, so he loved photography. His name is Semi. He taught me how to use Photoshop, like the entire interface, and like how to edit photos, what, So that's why I learned how to use Photoshop. I hated Illustrator. I never used Illustrator.
I hated Photoshop.
Dude, Illustrator was wow.
No.
When the lecturer gave us something like some assignment or something, like you guys should do this and this, I opened Illustrator and just look at it. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with it?
Yeah.
You can make a whole logo in Photoshop.
That's what you thought.
Yes.
At the moment.
So because Photoshop was like literally my face, still is. So you would design business cards in Photoshop. I'm like, okay, let me try to design like a business card. Didn't even know. I had no idea how to use like layouts. I didn't know which font to use as long as I like the font. The font pairing, nothing, not even colors. Like I would have showed you. I think I have some work from back then that I used to do. So it was a bit wild. So maybe I loved Photoshop because of the art side of it, because you could do a lot of things with it. Like you could do 3D, you can use like a brush, you can do what. So I used to love using Photoshop for that.
And of course you graduated and whatnot, and then we met. I think for me, that whole experience when we started working together, like I think it was like a very good foundation for me, because I remember there was the two of us, and then we were just working together, and then we challenged a lot. We challenged ourselves a lot. And I remember the first day we started working, like you were so good at Photoshop, and I didn't like Photoshop at all. I hated Photoshop, and for me, that was a good learning opportunity because I saw from you and I started learning from you. When I had a challenge, I would ask you questions on the job. Of course, I lied that I knew Photoshop in the interview. Then I could learn from you, and then in Illustrator also, you'd also learn from me. And I remember at some point you also became very good at Illustrator. You even started making illustrations. You remember those for Hummingbird?
Illustrators for Apple Max, those to my, even Hummingbird,
even Hummingbird.
So I kind of started liking Illustrator. So right now, Photoshop and Illustrator, it's just both of them. I use the same softwares like equally. So I'm good at Photoshop when doing Photoshop stuff. I'm good at Illustrator when doing Illustrator stuff. I even mix them. So that's the thing. I think learning from each other was actually fun because the fact that we were both learning, none of us were better than the other. Maybe we were better at something, and the other person is better at something else, and then we would meet and definitely be like, okay, this is you are doing this in Photoshop. How do I do this? You're like, oh, okay, this like this. I'm doing this in Illustrator. How should I do that? And that was actually fun.
Was really good. Also, I think the freedom that they gave us to learn. I think that was also good. Because there was the two of us, we were not loaded with so much work. Like one project maybe would take they'll give you a week to do it. So you'd have a lot of time to work on it. And we'd have a lot of free time to learn, to try out new things. And also our portfolios. Remember on Behance?
I don't know. But was it 2021 or 2022? 2020. 2020
to 2021.
2020 to 2021. Almost the entire 2021. I don't know if every other designer was just coming up or just discovered the Behance for the first time. But there was a war on beer hands.
Yeah.
Like, every day.
Every day someone is posting something. Yeah.
Someone is posting something. If you haven't posted on Behance that week, maybe twice or something, you feel like
you're left behind.
You are left behind.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that was fun.
it was wild.
Yeah.
Like anything, you create,
anything you
whether
get,
it's good or bad, it's
going to Behance.
People need to see.
People need to see this. Yeah. Yeah, very pangazing. Those were really good times. You know, like we learned a lot. Like there was a lot to learn. We'll be challenging ourselves. If I see you posting, we'll be just like, now I also need to post.
You need to post something. Because the fact that we were even neighbors at home and visit and Sangan the busy number just crafting something, you're like, urepanga. Like as if I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
You also leave. Like,
yeah, also leave and make something.
I visit you, I find you doing crafting somewhere like you're going away. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was really good.
I think 2021, 2022 was my peak when it came to learning how to, like, you know.
Yeah.
Because when I was equally learning photo manipulation then, and then because it was clashing with my work, because I didn't know when I spend a lot of time creating photo manipulations, and then the design side is also requesting for my attention. So what I thought was, what if I mix both of them? Let's say if graphic design and digital art or manipulation, I just craft them like together. Maybe it would make a difference, because I used to see a lot of generic artworks from like especially billboards or anything. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like someone can't stop and be like, okay, let me read this. So what I thought was like, okay, let me create a cool artwork and some information in there, which is going to make someone stop what they're doing or pause whatever they're doing, and then they'll stare at it saying, okay, this is what's going on, this is cool, and then they'll end up reading the information there. So that's the reason why I actually pursued that direction, because it made me it separated me from every other designer, and I think it worked.
Yeah,
it kind of worked. Yeah,
I think you also became like admired even by other people, because like you spend a lot of time just manipulating everything, the lighting and everything and all that, because other designer will just be like, get a picture of a photo, put it there, slap its logo, subtext, contact us, and that's it. But for you, I think it was like you would put in all the work, take your time to craft it properly, the color grading and everything, making sure the light was good. Yeah, that was really inspiring. And I think that's why I loved about that, because we were full of energy, the willingness to learn, to challenge ourselves. And I think from that time we really boosted our portfolio such that it was easy to get other jobs. It was easy to get other jobs because we did so much. The fact that everything we did there, like everything we are right now, is all because of, like, it's just self-taught. You need to motivate yourself to create. We're not looking at perfection, but progress. Like, okay, when progressing with this, like you ask your friend saying, what do you think? You shouldn't be scared of criticism. Ask people, especially people who don't know anything about what you do, because they'll be looking at it from the user side, like the customer side and everything. So ask, like, what do you think about this? And whether it's negative or positive, you should just learn to take it and ask questions like, okay, what did you see wrong with it? Can you explain? If they say something about, oh no, I couldn't read this and this, just take it and be like, work on it. That's how you progress in life. Because if you keep definitely information, so not if you're so you're not going to go anywhere like that. And your work is not going to be received well, because you're making it for yourself, in short. You're not open to criticism and constructive criticism. I think that's one thing I loved about you, and also annoying at the same time, because I think you're that guy who's always like, you would make something and every time you'll be asking me, Mwaka, what are you doing? Like whether it's late, you would call me up and say, Mwaka, I've sent you something. How does this look? I'm supposed to post this. How does this look? Yeah. It come through. Yeah, I like that persistent, which would also be annoying sometimes. But of course, I understand you, my friend, and whatnot. But I think that's the spirit everyone needs to have. You need to you shouldn't make everything just for yourself. But you should be able to show it to other people.
Yeah.
They criticize you, you make changes, and that way you learn faster.
Yeah. That was,
Even yesterday when I was calling,
I said it because I've been slacking a lot with digital art these days, such that I was, because of work, it's been tense, like really tense. It's hard to even find time to like create something. But I finally created something, but then I was missing out on like the colors and everything, and I'm like, how am I even so? I went on Pinterest, got some like my color palettes and everything, tried to put them there. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? How's the composition? I need to And then God was like, don't worry, let me call someone. He called. He's like, how's it going? I'm like, you're the best person now. And like, you've called. Said, look at this. What do you think of that? So it was fun. Yeah,
it was really fun. I miss those times we were together because we would learn a lot at the same time. We would work all together. We knew our strengths, especially that part. I think you were more on manipulation. I was more on, I don't know, I was more onto logos, things like that, branding.
More into branding.
More
I even
branding.
discovered mockups from you because I didn't know mockups existed in like you just send it. I want a business. I want a fly. I want a what, and it needs to be on a mockup. You just send it.
Just like that.
You should imagine it yourself. Like imagine it on a photo. Imagine it on something else. So I was like, mockups. This is how you use mockups. Was it from Freepik?
That was Freepik and other resources.
That was Freepik and everything.
And Invato.
Element. So it was fun.
I miss those times we work together. I wish that would happen again because again we would like challenge, especially the part of challenging ourselves to learn, updating our portfolio. Like I can't remember the last time I think it's even like been 2 years since I updated my Behance or posted anything. I have a lot of work that I need to show, but
because of that hard work that we did, like I update my portfolio time, but if we just lift our portfolios like that and just use 3 years, 4 years of work behind and just send it to companies, I'm like, okay, this is what I can do. I think even if they see 2020, they still go like,
this is impressive.
This is impressive, you know? So it was fun. And then I think one other thing that used to push us was the urge to leave that place. So when you want to make it in life, guys, you should put yourself in uncomfortable situations because if you are so comfortable, you have everything you need, it's hard to do anything unless you just know how to push yourself. If you have discipline, you can do it, you can work anywhere. But then if you just want to live somewhere.
That's the best motivation.
That's the best motivation. It will push you last. So
we've talked about work. Of course, your work can be good. You put in the work, but how has having mentors and connections been helpful to you?
Well, so far I've only had one mentor, Muzi. I met Muzi. In fact, the first time I met Muzi, we didn't even know each other. I was like in 2019 when I was going out for internships. Was it internships? So they call them attachments for school. So I went to Black Dot when I think he was at Black Dot then, and I wasn't expecting interviews, but I was just taking a cheap paper from school saying, this all is from school. Can you do some my works at your place? This guy sat me in the thing is that they're asking me questions like, can we see your portfolio? I'm like, a portfolio? What's a portfolio? I showed them like a page, and that page, I created that page a long time ago. And it's just filled with people's work. I just downloaded a picture from Instagram.
Wait, that's what you were doing?
That's what I was doing. I was like, so they're like, this is nice. Did you do this? No, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. How about this? No, I didn't.
Seriously, you're posting other people's work?
It was meant for my art. The time I was still drawing. So there's still some artworks there. So that I did for drawing, but they were looking at the design ones. And I was like, I didn't do any of it. I didn't do any. How about this? Ugly logo. Like, I did that. Like, so the thing was, it was like end of the year and they were going for like industrial leave. So I think they never got back because they went for things. So I instead went to my lecturer's studio, an animation studio, and just did animatics, which is also like storyboarding. With Namachanchani. So that's why I went. That's why I met him for the first time. I actually even forgot about them after that. Then in 2020 again, I think I saw him on Behance. I saw Behance for the first time. I'm like, oh, this exists.
Yeah.
So I saw his profile, I saw his work. I was flabbergasted. My flabbers were gasted.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me contact this one. That's how I texted him. Which my speech. That. The man then replied with a speech as well. So he gave me that motivation to actually not give up yet. Yeah.
So what exactly did you write in that? Like, maybe you can't say everything, but just the context of what.
So the context was me actually appreciating his work. Like, okay, your work is wild. And I told him about myself. Like, okay, I'm a graduate. I completed Shanshani. And what else did I even say? I didn't ask him to be my mentor. I just told him, like, would you teach me? I think I asked him to teach me some of his ways, or, you know. So he actually replied. He told me, even advice. Actually, asked him for advice. Like, okay, what am I supposed to do? And everything. He replied, like, say, cheers. And he told me, he told me not to actually do my research a lot, YouTube, Pinterest, and not just focus on one thing. Let's say I shouldn't focus on graphic design. I should just focus on other things. You can have one niche, like okay, you're good, really good at graphic design, but just those my thing is, and that's why I started doing motion as well. So motion graphics, I taught myself that, and mostly on YouTube, I think. Did I learn it? Yeah, YouTube. So when I watch a tutorial, I see something cool, I'm like, okay, let me try this out. A little bit of photo manipulation. It was bad, so I just
Yeah.
It really pushed me into like, okay, yeah, this is what goes on in the design world. And since then, I'm like, I'm going to be a parasite.
Yeah.
I'll be a parasite since then. And yeah, he's the only creative director that I've ever worked with, and the only mentor that I've had, and we're still together at this right now.
I like that story because I would see you like even like other opportunities. I think you saw the willingness, and you was also like willing to help you out as well. I think when you are sending someone that inspires you, you need to be. You can't just say I need your help or I need you to help me. You're just like vague in your messaging. I think you need to specify like where you are right now, what you're looking for, your struggles, and all those things. I think that's important when you're sending to mentors. Not just say I need the job or I need help or help me find the job. That's a very big problem.
That's a very big problem. Yeah, people would definitely ignore him. That's what I did. So I literally told them like, dude, I'm stuck where I am.
Yeah.
And I don't think I even had my Behance up then. I wasn't posting anything on Behance. It was just got his number. Just started texting him. Then when my laptop got stolen, I think I lost contact with him, and I came back I think 2021, after when I was Californian, that's when I regained contact with him and started talking to them. So I told him like, dude, I need to dip from this place. I need to leave. So yeah, he's helped me a lot. I think the person I am right now is mostly like I'm a product of music I say right now. So I really appreciate him for that. So yeah.
And I think you also like proved yourself, like you're willing to learn, and you also proved yourself, and he has also like helped you even with other gigs and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, I used to saw you guys. I was really jealous. I was like, these guys are so close. Like, this big guy is just like, But I was really proud of you and the relationship that you've built with him.
Yeah, he's actually also noticed your work, dude. Like for a long time. The first time he spoke of you, I was like, hey, you know what, Maka?
Yeah.
I didn't know that he's like, no, I've seen the odd. He's doing wonders. Likes using the word odd.
The odd.
He's done wonders with things.
Mentors are important.
Mentors are important in life.
I think we need a lot more people like him. And again, if someone brings you on, you have to really prove yourself that you're willing to learn and you can do better. And I've actually received a lot of messages by like young peers and everything saying, dude, I need to be, can you be my mentor and everything? I'm like, I don't even know where to start from. Like, I'm really bad at that. Like, I would just be like, here's some YouTube videos. You go and watch that.
Watch these YouTube videos. You'll be a well done when you watch these YouTube videos. Because that's what I watched as well. I used to watch YouTube. Like I've watched almost every YouTube tutorial out there, especially photo manipulation. Right now, I can't even learn anything from for photo manipulation on YouTube because
Like,
the people who are there, like I follow. I'm subscribed to Benny Productions and Phase Runner. These two ons. These guys are wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to watch their videos every time. Like I would repeat as they are doing their thing on video. I'll be on my laptop as well, just like okay, this is what he did. This is what he did. And when I see that it works, I'm going to apply that same technique onto my own artwork. So that's how I used to learn.
Yeah.
When it comes to photo manipulation, I'll do some rubbish. I'm going to send you a... It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it never started perfect out of nowhere. Like I used to make a lot of mistakes, especially when it comes to coloring, color grading and everything, even composition. Like it never used to make sense. So I think YouTube is just basically the best platform you could learn from for anything, literally. Anything creatively. So we tried Skillshare. Skillshare. We paid Skillshare for like I don't know.
We tried
1 year. Forgot about it. Went back to YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
maybe if you just want to learn something very specific, that's when you can pay for a course. But most stuff you just find them. On YouTube
because most problems I used to face were specific, and I could find those on YouTube. Because if I go to Skillshare, I'm like I want to learn how to like use camera raw or use adjustment layers in Photoshop. I have to watch an entire thing for a whole week, but I just want one specific
solution.
So I just go on YouTube. YouTube was just like, here, say this is how you do it. Shan. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
That's it.
That's it. So yeah.
So now, how do you continue to challenge yourself creatively now? Of course, that time we were doing it like together, but I'm sure where you've gone now, like you've met different people.
Yes.
How do you keep the motivation going?
Mostly it just has been self-motivation and Pinterest. Pinterest, you'll find everything. It's either Pinterest will make you mad or because once you see something there, you're like, did the person create this? Like, how did they even do it? We are using the same softwares, not even AI, softwares. And then they're creating something like this. So with every project that I create, I try to be different, like make it completely different from my last one and better as well. So especially now that we were working with Airtel, I didn't want the artworks to be, or every campaign that I work on, I need to make it different. I need people to sit there and just forget about trash talking Airtel for a bit, you know? Like, just go like, okay, yeah, this is really cool. Then they get the information, go about their day. But yeah, I also learn a lot from my workmates. They are really talented people and really creative people, and there's a lot that I get to learn from them. Barbara is a really good a designer, and I've learned a lot from her, and as well as Sipo Kazi, our copywriter. Shout out to Sipo. Come back.
To come back.
Yeah, she's traveled. But yeah.
All right, man. So this is called Do It. Here we don't just talk. So so we're gonna go into some of your projects that you've worked on, and just see what your process was like and whatnot, and see what really goes in your mind when you're creating stuff. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. So for the project breakdown, this is one of the first that you created when we were at Californian, and there's a lot going on here. I think I personally love it, and it speaks a lot. But I'll let you explain. Like, how did you come up with this concept, or what? Before you even started creating anything, how did this idea come to you?
Well, I was browsing on Pinterest, actually. I was on Pinterest, and I found a similar artwork. I think a reference. I don't think I have it right now. But it was a child wearing a gas mask. And then in the distance was like factories, like a lot of factories. And then like there's like smoke, there's fumes. It was like very dark.
Yeah.
And I was like, why every time I see an artwork talking about pollution and everything, artists or people just tell those stories from the human perspective. I'm like, why not tell that story from like,
The animal.
animal's perspective. And I don't know, I just found myself having like the love for birds. And like I use a lot of, like, I like using birds in a lot of, most of my artworks. So I'm like, okay, let me try to tell a story from the bird's perspective or the animal's perspective. So it took a while for me to actually think about it.
Yeah.
So usually when I'm thinking about creating an artwork, I don't even sketch out. I don't even do sketches or anything. I just start creating it. That's why most of the time when I when I come up with an idea and like let me make it, the chances of that idea continuing, like finishing from the concept to completion as it was in my mind, are so slim. They are very low, but never zero.
Yeah.
So that's how it was. This was something else, and there were supposed to be factories at the back, but I was like, no, I can't create it exactly as it is. Let me just, And I didn't want to have a lot of my artworks. I don't like having a lot of things going on. I just like getting like just a few assets, 3-4 assets.
Yeah.
And I create something from that. So
now looking at this, I know many people might think this is just like, I don't know, one layer or a picture, then you just added the colors. But there's a lot of things going on here. There's a lot of assets that you collected, right? There's so many pieces that you put together.
Yes.
And I think the best part about this is how you manage to blend everything together such that the colors everything looks like as if it was there in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe let's look at the assets that you used. So these are the main assets, isn't it?
So it's just 5.
Yeah, it's just 5.
Just 5 assets, then everything else was just brushing out, painting, just getting some little smoke brushes and then just patching them up and a lot of adjusting.
Yeah. So now when you got that idea, where do you go from there?
So let me give you a little walkthrough on how I went about it. So it all started with a blank canvas, as usual.
Yeah.
There's nothing down there. So I won't be exact with how I was moving because it's going to take like 5 hours. But the first thing I put was the bird.
Yeah.
So we put in the bird first, cut it out, and that's why it all began. Then the second part was, okay, the bird needs to sit somewhere. At first it was like an electric wire, but I was like, no, it doesn't make sense. So I had to find a barbed wire. Where's the barbed wire? Yes, so that's the barbed wire that I found. So that's the composition. So okay, the bed is there. What do we add to the bed? A gas mask. And I'm like, okay, the bed has a very long
that's a long
gas mask. So I was like, okay, let's ignore the bed. Let's remove the head first.
Cut off the head.
Let's cut off the head because it's gonna be in a gas mask.
Yeah.
So I had to find the gas mask, and I found this on Inverter Elements. So this, I spent a lot of time like looking at this, saying, okay, how am I even going to like make this thingy? And it actually makes sense because the gas mask is quite long. And, okay, like a big scarf comb. And if someone looked at it, they'll be like, okay, maybe it's ending somewhere up. Yeah. So I had to cut it out to fill the head. Like it looks like the bed is actually wearing the head, the gas mask. And that was it. Like that was that. And then,
so now do you start with, as you are putting all this together, the composition, like where everything is gonna sit, do you first look for the assets first, or as you go along?
I think it's as I go along.
Yeah.
Because
so that you have a project, let me look for the assets and use them together.
No, not looking for like that, because it's hard for me to picture. Like I said before, I just start creating. That concept in my mind is already made. And as I'm going, because sometimes it doesn't work. You say, because the difficult part about photo manipulation is you're not going to find the exact same photo you're looking for if it's the asset. So if I say, okay, the wire is going to face like the other side, and I go out or online, start looking for a photo like this bird, I struggle just looking for this bird, the exact same thing. So that's how it is. So as I go, I'm like, okay, we need the barbed wire that goes like this, so that I know exactly what I'm looking for. Because when I get everything at the same time, the chances of me using everything there are low. So I just download assets as I work. So yeah.
Okay, we're moving on.
Yeah, so moving on, after that I added the drums. I'm like, okay, the drums need to be there, and they need to be blurred because they should be.
Yeah, the distance in between.
And this should, as it is, should already tell the story, saying, okay, yeah, this is what was going on. Then the little trash here. So
Oh, yeah,
this,
the trash.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this was the story for me. Like, okay, that's the concept. That's how it's supposed to be, and so.
So everything is now has been put.
So even like I wanted it to be so simple that even a 4-year-old could be like, okay, yeah, this is what's going on. So the drums have a radiation logo here. The bird is wearing a gas mask. They'll be like, okay, yeah, that thing is toxic. The bird is affected by that and everything. So, and after this came the the blending now, which is something that's exciting and it's stressful at the same time, but it's exciting.
Yeah.
So
again, looking at so before you turn that one on, so looking at the theme now, everything looks so bright and it looks so nice. It doesn't like speak the direct message, isn't it? Like doesn't tell the actual story because the bed is looking colorful.
The bed is
There's a lot of light going on, so it seems like everything is good. Maybe it's just a bird.
Yeah. That's the thing. So
but that's not the theme that you are in.
Yeah, no, that was not the theme. The theme, because if you see any place like that's polluted, it's never a good place. It's always gloomy. It's dark. It's you can't live there.
No bright colors.
No bright colors at all. So my aim for this one was to reduce the vibrance of everything, like losing color and not adding a lot of it. So I went with the backgrounds now. So the background, I didn't want to add any distracting background. So I went with a plain one.
Yeah.
So that's how I started adding a few layers, just painting out the composition and everything. Then followed by the ground. So the ground was looking a bit too plain. So I had to find an asset that speaks ground, and now everything is on the ground because at first it was just looking a bit too clean. Then cleaned up the ground, then came back to added some texture to the part to the thingy, the trash, because it's also looking too clean. As if they just threw it there or something.
Yeah, looks too clean.
Yeah, so I added some,
a mess there. Yeah. Some dirt.
Added the mess, added what, and then this brightness, I had to reduce the brightness of the overall feel, minus the bird.
Yeah.
So that's how it was. I added some more barbed wires just to fill up the composition and everything. Yeah. Added some color to that. Yeah. Then it was a bit too clean again. I had to add some mist to it. So added some mist, added some whites. So it was just painting. Like, just brushing out everything, making everything look dirty. Yeah. I added some smoke. So
what did you use for the smoke?
So the smoke is it's a 3D asset from Imbato Elements. So it's just something, and then just the opacity. Yeah. So it was like 100%, and I'm like, I know.
That's too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Then added some more darkness to that to show, like, something happening in the background.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Then added some.
Another barbed wire.
Yeah. Another barbed wire, like just filling up the composition in general. And another one, so everything started coming back together like that. I did some brightness, because that's how it was. Then I did some shadows and some lights to the barbed wires where the thing is sitting, and a shadow where the bird is.
Yeah.
Then I came to the bird. There's a lot of layers.
Yeah. That's a lot.
I had to make the bird look like, it's there, and it's shadowing. So
first, so here everything here looks off because the bird doesn't look like it belongs there.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it belongs there. And I use this same asset for the ones that I use for the trash. I use the same overlay for the bird. So I made the bird.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how it was. So this is how it was before. So before using multiplier, that's how it was.
Okay.
So I had to choose overlay for that. Then I added some. Is this darkness? Yes, I added some darkness, some shadows to that.
Yes.
And I changed the vibrance of. I think this is your saturation or the curves. This looks like curves. Yeah, these are the curves. So I added some curves to the bird. added some. I reduced some saturation. I added some brightness.
I think that's some mist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, like it's just making the thing. So the light was coming from this side, so I didn't want to add anything much this side because that's where the color is coming from. Yeah, the light is coming from. So I added some brightness to that. So the bed, as you can see, is looking at least. It's there.
Yes, it's starting to blend in.
Then, yeah. Then I added some shadows again.
Yeah, more shadows.
Yeah, more shadows.
More shadows.
Yeah, shadows and more
shadows. Too much to blend the helmet because it was looking off before.
Yeah, so right now again it's looking off because of the mist we added here.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's literally out of place. So I added some more misty thingy, and now it sits. So back to the mask, the same overlay again.
Yeah.
Added some dirt to it, so to show that there's something going on there. So that's
before
and after. Yeah.
Okay.
Could see, okay, this mask is also going through it.
Yeah.
Then also added some darkness as well to make it look like it's okay sitting on the bird. Added some bright and some light to give it life, and so that's how it is. That's how a little bit of light can do
wonders. Yeah. I think that's to blend it more.
Oh yeah, to blend it more on the bird and everything. Then added some some mist to it so that it sits now.
Yeah.
So this was just like a painting now, like with a brush.
Okay.
And then added some more light, some hazy. They call it haziness.
Yeah.
I think twice anger with but it's haziness. So, and then for like just over a few and everything, I used this. Let me turn it on and. This is an overlay for what do you call this? The bouquet. I don't know what it is.
Bokeh.
Whatever that is. Yeah, I brushed it off and then made it lighten. It was on lighten, so that it's there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Give it some depth.
Some depth. And then added some more as well. So just to make it feel like, there's something happening here. So that was the whole process. Then I've got a preset that I just use for my artworks to give it some color. So this one's
you're blending everything.
Yeah, so this one gives everything, like the gloomy effect and everything. So
I think it also just blends everything together like perfectly now.
Yeah. So now I'll show you like the first. After adding camera raw, there's a lot to do with camera raw. I've forgotten what I used, but this camera raw filter. This was the first one. So you are the one who told me saying, I don't know what I'm supposed to look at, whether it's the drums or the bird.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, the composition feels a bit
off. Yeah.
Yeah. So we said, okay, let's focus on the bird. And I'm like, oh, cool. That's
I told you that.
Yeah, you did. You're the first. After you told me that, I'm like, so yeah, I made this a lot bigger than the bird was small. So
even the depth. Okay.
Yeah, even the depth and everything. So this is the reason why I spent more time. I'm like, okay, I need to make everything look. Oh, we forgot to.
Wow, what a big difference.
Last, we forgot to add some blur to
the drums.
Yeah, so it gives it some.
So it's not focused as
it's not focused as the bird. Yeah. So
So guys, that's the power of composition. When you look at the difference, you need to make sure you direct whoever is looking at your work, what they need to see first, what they need to focus on first. So
even the trash had some blur. So we forgot to add some blur there, so we put some blur. So that it's just some background noise that you can see but can't ignore at the same time. So you focus on the bird, you're like, why is the bird wearing a mask? And you start looking at everything. Then and then when I added the final camera roll, this was our final artwork. And
nice.
I was really happy with this.
Yeah. Well, this is really good. It sits so perfectly there, like the bird is just there.
I was even surprised. I was like, hey, I did this. That was the beginning of everything. So,
How do you know that this is okay, perfect?
How do I know that this is okay, perfect?
Yeah, this is good to go. I can post it now or take it wherever I'm supposed to take it to.
When you say okay, yeah, it's good to go.
Oh.
You're like, yes.
It's
And I'm
good
like,
to go.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because it takes time for me to actually say, okay,
Yeah.
I think this one is
There's a lot
good.
of-
Sometimes it's even, I just feel it saying, okay, okay, this
Yeah,
is
this is
wow.
good
I
now.
call myself a wow done. Then I'm like, okay, we are cool. So yeah, that's the process.
Yeah. So so now blending is like hard. Like blending everything together. What does someone need to practice in order for them to be good at blending everything together like this? Because there's light going on, there's shadows, there's a lot of things that go on in order for an image to look real and very convincible.
You need to learn a lot about color, color matching, color grading, because not every color is going to go with what you are looking for. Because you need to learn adjustment layers. These to my items here. So you should work with vibrance, hue, saturation, color balance. These three, we really need these three. And for shadows and brightness, you need to experiment with the brightness, contrast, levels, curves, especially curves.
Yeah.
I failed to learn curves, but I thought curves are good, but I just had to create an alternative with levels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this whole thing here, you need to really work with these things and just get some references like Pinterest, practice with how the coloring on Pinterest artworks or whatever, even movies. Like movies help a lot with what you are looking for, but just practice in short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also hear you mention Pinterest a lot.
Yeah.
Why Pinterest?
You know, Pinterest, I don't even know, dude. Like, it's Pinterest is basically the best platform to learn again anything, and you might get distracted again because every time you click on something, they'll show you something.
Something more.
You're like, that's how it is. You say, okay, let me look for this artwork, and then they show you like, dude, do you know that we've got this? And you turn, and we got this from music. You turn again. So yeah, it's I don't know, but Pinterest, I don't know how I could even, but it's the best place if you want to get references for literally anything, like anything, not even related to whether design, TV, film, photography. Pinterest has everything because it's easy to upload there, you know, compared to Behance. Behance is projects mostly, like they post aftermath. Like you can get references from Behance, but then it's a bit too specific, can I say? Unless if you're looking for something specific on Behance and you're working on something professional. But Pinterest is literally at the tip of the hand, your hands, and
it's easy to save stuff.
And it's easy to save stuff. Because I've got a lot of boards for Pinterest, for everything, from clothes, photo manipulation, design, posters, music, everything.
Yeah.
So it's easy to go there, check your thingy references, like, oh, inspiration, I'm inspired by this. Can I create something similar? Then go about it. So yeah.
Because I remember at first you mentioned that you'd create everything from your mind, like that's what you would do.
So yes. So the first thing that goes on first is you go get inspired first. You know, Pinterest. Then when I see something that looks cool, I say this was a good artwork, this was a good project. How can I create something of myself similar to this, or maybe with similar messaging, in short? That's when I start thinking like, oh, okay, we can do this, we can do that, and they do that, instead of them using, like, it's the same as stealing, but as an artist. Not exactly, but similar. So, and then in that process, sometimes what usually happens when I'm trying to create something similar to what I've seen, another idea pops up. Like, what if you did this in a completely different way? That's how ideas come.
Man, thank you so much for the project breakdown. That was really useful. This is fun just going back, because I used to see you like spend a lot of time on this.
Even ignoring work, so like wait. I need to finish this
I need to finish this today. Yeah, that was really fun, and that was really helpful. And now it's time for the rapid fire questions. Only short answers only, no long answers or sentences. Right. Favorite Photoshop tool?
Favorite Photoshop tool is adjustments. Everything under adjustments. I enjoy.
Favorite manipulation piece you've created? What's your favorite piece?
My favorite piece is Radiation, because it was my first one that I actually spent a lot of time on it.
So the one with the one we were
With
looking
the gas mask, yeah.
Okay, cool. Most challenging project you've ever worked on? The two main.
I don't remember. There are a lot. I would say every one of them. Because they were challenging.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, I would say.
Yeah. Dream brand you would like to design for?
Dream brand I would like to design. Nike.
Nike. Nice. One word that describes your design style.
Wild.
Wow. Wow, Dixie.
This is wild. Wild in a good way and wild in a bad way. So
Yeah.
wild in short.
Both. All right, man. Thank you so much for that. Those are the rapid fire questions.
That's right.
That's right. This is a good one. Where can people find you? Not your address, of course. Not your physical address.
Before we couple yango yango address. You can find me on Instagram, Tembilanji with a TH. Yeah.
Okay, showing right here.
Yes. Tembilanji. There's Tembilanji for my personal thing and Tembilanji for my art.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Anything that you're currently working on? Or you can talk about it now?
No, I don't think I'm currently working on anything right now.
Yeah.
I used to, if it was 2 months ago, I would be like, I'm working on the Fikiliza animation. Yeah, that was all.
Yeah. Nice. All right, man. Thank you so much for coming through. This has been a great conversation.
Yeah.
I know we left out other things that we could have gone into.
Yeah, but I should have spent the whole day.
Yeah, we have spent the whole day.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Last.
Yeah, but thanks for coming through. But talk on no kwanish.
Okay, you're tired.
Nsungu twaranda.
Sungu twaranda. Nakutakuwa instant list. So, twarianda sana sungu na abantu, twambokola, twambokola. Apa twaisha.
Twaisha,
Na
okay.
wati wa fefe It's fun.
Yeah, it's fine. Thanks.
Alright, thanks for having me, dude.
All right.
It's been fun.
Let's do it.